カスタマイズ。
I just wanna dive into the future 共に行こうさ明日も今日も僕たちの旅は続く
Hello everyone, and you're listening to my slow descent into madness. I'm kidding, mostly. So I'm going to be talking about Appli episode 3 in this episode, so presumably if you're listening, you have listened to my previous 2 Appli special episodes. So I'm trying to mix up the format just to make it a bit more interesting to listen to because it is just me for now. So I have had feedback from a few listeners, and the general consensus is to have some questions provided beforehand, just so I can have something to talk about. So I'm going to have a quick run through of the plot, and then I'm going to list like positives, negatives, stuff that I liked, other stuff like that. And I hope that's a bit more enjoyable to listen to. But first of all, before I dive into that, the first bit of Appli merchandise is set to arrive, hopefully tomorrow, early this week, hopefully. So I will be doing videos on that depending on what people want to see. So presumably, if you listen to this episode, you care about Appli and possibly the merchandise. So I will take a photo of whatever arrives, and I'll be saying, what do you want to see a video of? And I can't promise doing everything that people want, because I work full-time and I already have this podcast to do in my free time. So depending on time, I may or may not be able to cover everything that people want, but I will try to do as much as possible and definitely will do whatever the most amount of people want to see. Anyway, so just on to the episode, I guess. So Watson is in this episode again, and we see he's talking with his friends about this fantasy role-playing game app called Fantasy Saga, and he's talking about how good his character is, and the characters kind of look a bit like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Then he realises his character's been hacked, and it's naked and weak, and his friends have also been hacked. And then we find out that it's Roleplaymon. Haru and Gutchmon go through to the Appli world, and they go through an RPG dungeon where Haru uses Gutchmon's search function to find ways to defeat a green golem, which kind of looks a bit like a creeper from Minecraft. And then they find out that Roleplaymon is just sad. Nobody ever enjoyed his roleplay game. Navimon and Gatchmon fuse and become an Appmon who just wants to procrastinate and says, I'll do this tomorrow. So he basically becomes procrastinating Appmon. So it's like this failure or error, and maybe it's because Navimon and Gatchmon don't get along like super well, and they think they had a bit of a disagreement at the start of the episode, but I didn't really catch much of the first bit. Anyway, so they defuse, and then everything's looking pretty scary at the moment. But then Haru saves the day by saying that he had a lot of fun playing the RPG that Roleplaymon made, and then said that he found it to be interesting and fun, and he had a lot of fun, and he really, really liked it. And Roleplaymon chills out, and then Haru gets the chip from Roleplaymon, and then they find out that he's one of the 7 rare Appmons, and then he gets a pad where he can store them. Then we see a guy called Ray and his Appmon, and they also get one of the 7, and I believe Ray then says that he's looking for Haru. So that's like the basic plot. The positives that I noticed was that there was no fighting that was really needed for the end of the battle. There was a bit of fighting at the start, but when Cameramon just kind of jumped away and said that he's not Chimeramon, he's Cameramon, and again, I really love Cameramon. I love his voice. There's something about it that's just so, I guess, kind of flamboyant, but I really like Cameramon, and I'm really looking forward to what they do with it, and I'm looking forward to the next episode because it seems to have Cameramon in it. I just really liked how, there was no fighting in the final battle with the Monster of the Week, and Haru just won by being genuine and enjoying the game that Roleplaymon has put out. And I don't know, it's like Roleplaymon just seemed sad and just wanted someone to enjoy what he was making. And as soon as someone enjoyed that, he was less angry, and he was happy, and it was just a really sweet moment. And we saw how genuine and lovely that Haru is. He didn't keep in these feelings because Roleplaymon wasn't being very nice and he was trying to fight Roleplaymon. It's like he almost didn't see Roleplaymon as the enemy, and he was just so genuine and honest about how he felt. And it's really nice to see Haru because he's pretty different from the majority of main characters we've had in Digimon. He's just so genuine and lovely, and in a way, he's a bit like Takato, but I think he's even more genuine and lovely, like even against Takato. And Takato's, before Haru, was the most genuine and lovely protagonist. And I just really liked how he just enjoyed the RPG experience. And the whole scene where they're going through the dungeons and they're doing different things, and Gatchmon is like not having much fun. Haru is loving everything. He's playing Junkanbon with a princess, and they're finding treasure chests that have traps in them. And even when Gatchmon falls into a trap, Haru enjoys it. Haru is just so happy the whole time. It's so lovely and refreshing. And yeah, I like this episode. As for like the features that we saw that the Appmons use, another positive is that I really liked seeing Gatchamon's search function be used sort of like a walkthrough in this game. And he used it to find the green golem's weakness, because just charging at it, just sort of Gatchamon bounced off. And it was just really sweet seeing, Haru look up the walkthrough basically and find Green Golem's weakness and beat him that way. And it's really nice seeing the Digimon, or Appmon in this case, being used as something more than just a monster for fighting. It's like he also uses his passive skill to find a weakness or to do a search, because he's a search engine. That's what app he is. And I say this every time we talk about Appmon, but I really like the way that they're using different apps have these abilities, and it's not always just attacking, it's useful as well. As for negatives, the only negative I could really think of is that Haru is still the main character. Now, apparently Eri will make her debut in episode 5, and I'm looking forward to that because I really like the design of Dokamon. It's blue, and I really like blue. So I really hope that she's a good character. I'm looking forward to Haru not being the only character at the moment, because that's just what he is, and that's basically, I think, the only negative I found in this episode. I really like this episode. I'm not sure if it's because I'm a gamer, or if I don't know, if it's just, there was something nice about him just being genuine, and that's how he won. He won by making friends, basically. And I've always liked that. It's like in Digimon Adventure, in the Punkmon and Gotsumon episode, they didn't want to fight, they just wanted to be friends, and it's sweet. So yeah, the negative is that Haru is the only main character, and I love Haru, but it's just like the adventures of that one guy, and I always like how there's other characters who would bounce off him, but there are other characters, but they don't have their own Appmons. There's not any, he's not in a team that he can bounce off, he's just by himself, and I'm really looking forward to when the other characters come in, and, their interactions with their Appmon, and I'd like to see, other characters progress besides just Haru. For other bits, I was going to say that I was going to add a negative from when I was watching this, but then it kind of fixed itself during the episode, and I'll explain what that is. So I was going to say that I felt that in the last episode, Gatchamon was kind of tacked on, and I feel like he would have been better to happen in this episode against the fight with Roleplaymon, because I thought, following a formula that a lot of kids shows do, is that, Gatchamon and Navimon would form into Gatchamon and defeat Roleplaymon, because that's how shows go. So I was thinking, man, this is just going to be boring. It's just going to be like the last episode, right? So I was pretty pessimistic about what was going to happen. But this is actually fine, because that's not what happened. Gatchamon and Navimon couldn't fuse and couldn't link, and became this error. And instead, Haru had to defeat the bad guy by not actually defeating the bad guy, by being friends with him, basically. And I really liked that, and it surprised me. It wasn't it didn't follow that formula of, okay, we did the thing last episode, it's going to work the same again, because that's just how it works. He's going to evolve, and then he's going to beat the bad guy, and then that's just what's going to happen every episode. But no, I was genuinely surprised. It's just something you don't really see. You see, that always works, evolving works, you beat the dude, you get the thing. And that didn't happen, and that's just, it's really nice, it's refreshing. Especially because, in other media that I watch, especially Pokemon, it follows the formula of Team Rocket shows up, they want to get Pikachu. There's some running around for about 15 minutes. Pikachu somehow escapes or electrocutes them. Pikachu goes back to Ash. And I guess, I was expecting it to just be boring and following that same formula. And I feel like if it did, I would not have liked this episode as much. I was preparing myself not to like this episode. But you know what? It surprised me, and I really liked it. I'm also really looking forward to the next episode. It's a Halloween special, and as I'm from Australia, we don't really celebrate Halloween at all. But there's always something about, those special spoopy episodes. And Cameramon's in it. I really like Cameramon. He's so cool. And I guess he's kind of going to be like the antagonist that joins the group, but still is too cool and edgy to join the group. I guess that might also be Ray, would fit that trope, but I feel like Kameramon's going to be like Itmon in a way. But I feel like he's going to join the group shortly, and Ray's still going to be like fighting for his own. And yeah, so yeah, looking forward to the next episode. It's something about Kameramon at Halloween time, and I'm just hope they do a Christmas episode. Oh my gosh, that'd be the best episode ever. I love Christmas so much. Anyway, so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to rank each episode as I watch them, and then when I watch these episodes with Jay, we'll also have a ranking, but it'll be separate from this ranking, so maybe the ranking will change and differ between the two, because, sometimes the discussion will change my opinion, because Jay will see things differently and he'll convince me, because I'm looking through it as a fan of Digimon. And maybe if you look at it through with another perspective, it's not good, but I'm really, really enjoying it. Anyway, so far, from worst to best, episode 2 is the worst episode. It was fine. Look, when I say worst, I mean it's worst out of 3, which is, it's still in top 3. The second episode is episode 1. It was still a really promising start. And episode 3 is the top at the moment for me. And yeah, I mean, like, people may disagree with me about that. I really liked how genuine Haru was, and that's definitely the highlight of it, and the surprise of it, just being not this following formula. And I feel between that and Haru being so genuine is why it's the best episode so far. I'm hoping they continue on this. As I said, episode 2 was okay. It wasn't as good as 1, and I was worried that it was just going to keep on decreasing from there. But no, episode 3 was good. I really liked episode 3. That was much, much better than the first episode. But that might just be me. If you share my opinion, tell me. If you don't, tell me. That I really like this episode. After the last episode, I was slightly less hopeful for the series, but after this episode, I'm hopeful again. That's about it for what I have to say about episode 3. I don't want to, keep on repeating the same things that I've said about 5 times already. You know what I think, the genuine Haru, the snap out of the formula that so many other shows of the same genre have. Anyway, so you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at lostintranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can also follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter and on Vine, and you can also find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and for this episode we will have a thread in the Digimon subreddit on Reddit. The reason I didn't last time is because I did the episode so soon after we just did a normal episode release, and I didn't want to be clogging Reddit because they don't think highly of you if you do that. But it's been I haven't published for over a day, and I feel like because it's a different episode, it's not like me linking the same episode. I think it'll be thought of better than if I did it the same day. I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I get negative 300 downvotes and stuff. Anyway, so we'd really appreciate if you were to review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening service you use. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who hosts a podcast with Stevie called The Moncast, where they talk about Pokemon and Digimon. You can find this on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Stitcher. Wu Qinglong, who has a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/WUQINGLONG. Metal Mamimon, Joe. Anime Guy, who you can find at Anime Guy Kurosaki, and then the number 1 on YouTube. Chakmon, Ishpearl Bamba, Hiro Alato, who is Hiro Alato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Frost Moragic, who is at Frost Moragic on Twitter, Stephen Reeds, who is at WildWing64 on Twitter, Kaido Washi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Ren and Garen from Breakfast with Digimon, which is another Digimon podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher, and Jams. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/airjamon. Make sure to let us know that it's for the podcast. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Be it for the next AppliMon episode, or for the next normal podcast episode, or what have you. Videos, I don't know. I'm uploading a lot of our backlog at the moment to YouTube. Hope that maybe we'll find some new people who like to listen to Digimon podcasts with that. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, so see you guys next time. Bye!